All right, we're at the American Century Golf Tournament here at Edgewood Tahoe Golf Club with Mike Macdonald, the head coach of the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks. And you're just telling me that your first time here, you have to earn the invite, and you certainly did that.
Got to earn the right to be here. That's right. Blessed to be here. We had a great group this morning. We had a lot of fun, and tee off Friday morning, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, what's the mindset like as you approach this season with that Lombardi Trophy and the Super Bowl case, or the trophy case there in Seattle? How do you get the guys geared up for another go around?
Well, it takes a minute to kind of get rejuvenated after the Super Bowl. You know, we played for such a long time, but I think the way we phrase it to the guys is, hey, we did something that's really, really special. That team's going to live on forever. We should be really proud of what we did, but that's a kind of a singular thing that happened in time. And what we're really chasing is like a way of life and how we do business every day. And we can do that every day. Those are things that are sustainable, that you can repeat. And so that's our goal. And it's and we have such great people in our building, our players, staff. It's just, it's a lot of fun to go to work every day, and that's why we want to keep it.
Is there something about, going from the hunter to the hunted? Is that something that you guys are going to have to face?
I think, we've come a long way thinking about worrying about outside circumstance, and all that is just how people perceive you, which that has no effect on how we do what we're supposed to do every day. And I think when you think it through that lens, just makes it way more simple to do business and takes a lot of pressure off you. And so that's the way we choose to operate, So, people look at us through a different light, but that doesn't really affect, on a play-to-play basis how things are going to shake out.
Yeah, and the way things shaked out last year, it certainly looked like the NFC West was the best division in football. And on paper, heading into this season, it looks like the NFC West is the best division of football. So, how you kind of looked at what the Rams have done and what the 49ers have done and what you guys have done and what you guys need to do.
Again, it's like we have no control over what the other teams in our division do, and like every team should do, you're always trying to maximize your football club going into the season, and putting yourself in a position going into training camp to have a great training camp. And that's been our focus is, what kind of offseason can we put together as a team? What kind of program can we put together? How do we put our practices together offseason? How do we make all those decisions to put us in a position to have the best training camp we can possibly have? And let's go from there. And so that's been our focus. And when we get done with this tournament, then we'll shift our focus to gearing up for camp here and at the end of the month, and off we go.
Is this week kind of a mental break for you from football?
It has been. Well, we've been off for a minute, and it's been nice to get a mental break. Get away from the game, and you feel refreshed. You feel refreshed that you're back, and I'm excited to get back with the guys and get back to work.
Yeah, so 49ers have a really good offense, but they scored 17 points against you guys in week 1. They won that game, and then late in the season, you beat them 13-3 and 41-6. How do you explain how you guys just had their number and didn't allow their offense to get into the end zone?
Well, it's the NFL. Every game is just so challenging, and every game has its own life as a life of its own, So I think our players are just, we decided we want to play a certain way, and I wouldn't say that we have the 49ers number or we don't have their night. It's just those games played out that way, and then as the game starts to unfold, you start to realize the things that you need to be able to do to go win the game, and our guys did that, so they deserve a lot of credit to, making it come to life.
Kyle Shanahan was an analyst on the Super Bowl pregame show. I'm sure you heard about it.
Yeah.
And he was asked, how do you go about attacking the Seattle defense? And he said, you're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Did you hear those? And
I did. Look, he's the best in the business. He's not, he didn't have the track record that he has by accident, so we got a ton of respect for him. It's what's cool about our division is we there's these back and forth, so there's evolutions of how we play each other every game, and so you have such a thorough understanding of what they do, how they do it, what they're attacking. They have an answer, now we have an answer. You go back and forth, and so it's a fun challenge to go about every and it happens within games and within drives, and you have to be able to adapt and evolve, and the teams in our division do that, so those are a lot of fun matchups.
Whether you're game planning against them as the DC of the Ravens or head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, what are the kind of the staples of the 49ers offense, the Shanahan offense, that really you have to lean into and realize that they're going to try to stress you in certain areas?
Well, there's a great detail in which they coach, and there's a precision to their offense, and there's a physicality to what they do, and it's complementary. Like everything's married off each other. All the route stems are married off each other. They vary their pass protections. The run game is diverse but complementary, and so they're constantly evolving. So you have to keep pace with that, and it's not easy to do, and that's why they've been so successful.
Yeah, you guys have had a lot of success at Levi's Stadium, including the Super Bowl. I was one of the voters for MVP, and through most of that game, I was thinking, which defensive player gets it? Because you guys had 5 or 6 guys who could have gotten it. What is the defensive philosophy as far as just having so many guys making huge contributions?
Well, everybody has sayings in their building, but we say 12 is one. And what we're trying to create is a synergy where it feels like you're playing more than 11 guys, where you're playing 12 guys. And so our guys have bought into that you play team defense and team football, and you kind of do your job and then some. You can get nerded out and say you do what we call it doing your 1.09, your 12 divided by 11. And our guys do that, and when you have a group of guys that are really invested in the guy standing next to them, their success, and setting their teammates up for success, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, and you made a move on your coaching staff, bringing in Brian Fleury, former 49ers run game coordinator and tight ends coach. So obviously there were elements of that offense that you really like.
Yeah.
What were those elements?
Well, we wanted continuity from what Clinton, our offensive staff, built last year, and Brian brought that to the table, so that kind of checked that box. But we got to know Brian, and he just did a great job throughout the interview process. And I think it's really important. Like you're hiring a partner of you're building an offense to the identity of how we want to build our football team, and that's the way that Brian saw the game. And I'm sure he learned a lot of that through the things that Kyle's about and how they've built their offense in San Francisco. So which there's a lot of great qualities to that. They've had a ton of success, and they're not an easy offense to go against, but. We're not trying to recreate the San Francisco offense. We're trying to build the next iteration of the Seahawks offense, and there's going to be a lot of shared principles, but these things take on a life of their own, and you got to make it unique to us in order to have success.
Yeah, you talked about like just focus on yourselves, but how difficult is that as a head coach to keep everybody focused on yourselves when you see what the Rams did with bringing in the corners, bringing in Myles Garrett, 49ers have made some moves, Mike Evans, others. How difficult is it?
It's really simple. We don't play them until playing Christmas. It's just, even if we played in week 1, it's like right now we have to worry about getting good. We got to become a great team again. You got to build those connective fibers. You got to bring your team along. You got to build a foundation. You got to callus up. You got to get in shit. You need precision to all 3 phases of your team. We got enough stuff to worry about every day to make sure we're as good of a football team as we can possibly can. And then when it's time to go play a game, you go put together a great game plan and go rip it. And that's how we do business.
Yeah. Have you had time to really enjoy the Super Bowl victory?
I would say I'd have time to enjoy my family, enjoy friends, and make a couple trips and take a deep breath. And I think I look at it through the same lens I just told you. Say I'm really, really proud of what we've built so far, and now the excitement is being able to build off of it. And there's a sense of urgency and it's a delicate thing. You don't want to lose it. You want to keep gaining it and keep building your team. So that's really where the focus has been.
Is there a secret to having your team? It's such a long season. Secret to having your team peak at the right time.
Well, I think you're always learning, trying to grow. You're always trying to go to the next level. And we call it chasing edges. You're always trying to, what's the next iteration? What's next? How can you take what's the decision you can make today, to better your team? Is it how you practice? Is it schematic? Is it personnel wise? And so I think we have a whole building that looks at it through that lens, and our players have really bought into how we do business. And I think if you do that and you really stay honest to that process, you get no choice but to get better.
Yeah, well, it should be a heck of a lot of fun watching the NFC West this year because there are some heavyweights.
Yeah, there are.
Hey, Mike Macdonald, thank you so much.
Thanks,
really appreciate it.
Good to be with you.